Today, our guest is Jim. Welcome, Jim. We are glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Before we dive into many of the applications and the corporations that you work with and some of the amazing things you've done, can you please introduce us how you broke into tech?
Okay, to start with, Jim Gitonga, and my background is I'm a biomedical engineer. As a biomedical engineer. So breaking into tech started last year when COVID hit. So when COVID hit, it was at a point whereby now I was gone back to the university. I was in the Technical University of Mombasa because now I used to do with C. I used to program with C robots. Now I was a robot engineer there in the university. So when I went back to the university, I was given the chance of designing the ventilator and then again also programming it. So I just did it, but now after we did the product or the prototype, there was nothing that was done. So then I started now questioning now, okay, what will I do next now? Because I was so much into hardware design. So I realized now I need to do something else. So I sat down, I went to a friend of mine who was working in a certain software company, and I asked him, like, is Kenya so much into the hardware, or is Africa so much into hardware? So he told me that I need at least to have an extra language or something else I can do apart from. So last year, I think now starting from May, because it's when I finished designing the ventilator, I learned JavaScript.
Okay.
So after I learned JavaScript all the way down the line up to December, I was now already good in it because I already learned JavaScript and now the framework of React and React Native. And now I went now to the backend technology where now I started to explore Node. And now from that point, this year February, I graduated with a bachelor degree in medical engineering. So a friend of mine trying to offer me a job, but I said, no, I don't feel like, because I had found something in tech. I had found an open space in tech, and I realized now that me sitting down, I can solve problems for people rather than me going to the hardware part. And I also realized then that also that's some reward that comes from tech when you do something and you feel appreciated. You know, the course that I've done it for 5 years in the university. But at the end of the day, what we've been doing, we've not been designing. We've just been repairing machines that are broken. So at the end of the day, I wanted now to be able now to build something or a product from the beginning. And now I also wanted where now I love freedom of what I can do and how I can push things to the end. So now after I graduated in February, I gave myself like 1 month to think what I want, if I want to be in medical engineering or I want to be in software engineering. So when I spent for 2 months thinking until May, when I just said, let me apply for a software engineering job. So I applied to the Elecatech and I was picked by them as the software engineer. And currently, I am both working on the front end and the back end, building their product in the Elecatech.
Okay, that's great. Congratulations as well. That's wonderful. Can you again state your bachelor certification for me?
Okay, my bachelor certification is biomedical engineer.
Medical engineering. Okay, awesome.
Yes, I've done medical engineering.
Okay. So what actually motivated you to go deeper into the tech side? I mean, starting to learn JavaScript and most of the tools and languages that we use to build the web. I mean, what actually motivated you? Did you see that out there? Did you always have that thought in mind that maybe in the future you'd want to go, explore that? What actually exposed you to the tech side?
Okay, so I was curious of things and how things work. Like if I would open the website and I click a button and I would see it flicker, I'm like, okay, how did this fella do this? So, and then again, there are friends of mine who will shine to me with ones like database, backend, frontend. So I'm like, so I will not understand. So I would think if someone tells me they're building a server or server, I would think the guy is going to build it from scratch. Or a database, I would think he's just going to build. Okay, so now I now started now to explore, okay, what is this thing? What is a database? What is a server?
Mm-hmm.
How can I configure a server now? Like, how can I write our own server? So then I came to realize, even when somebody will say backend, they don't mean that they are building a server, the hardware. They just mean they are building the server, the protocols to communicate with something. So that is what made me. And then also realized around my society, there are a lot of problems that like, for example, currently there's another software I want to build. I want to make it open source, IEMR system that can be able to correct the patient's records and be able to retrieve them, that they can be kept somewhere, and then the patients themselves are the ones who to allow the doctor to access their information, such that now you can realize that, like the COVID patients, there is one problem. When someone goes to the hospital, there is no medical history. So I want to build such a system that you can have a medical history that everybody can access. So I realize now, I had such a thought from when I was in Zambia, but now I never knew what to do, what language to use, because I could not use the C language that I was used for hardware. So then I realized now I need now to, last year is when I fully now realized now which technologies I need to use. And I also wanted to know, why does things work the way they do? Why does it, do you have something like menu? I was like, if I saw someone build a website, it has got a menu and then it has got the sidebars. I'm like, okay, how did they do it? So from that curiosity, I started building it, and that is how now I started now building it, going to YouTube. You know, YouTube is a great material. I would look at somebody do it and I go and do it. I would, and at the end of the day, somebody asked me, what can you say, Jim? And I said, if I'll be rich, I'll pay those guys who teach in YouTube for free. Because what all I have is from YouTube, and I'm very happy for that.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So, I mean, delving deeper into the web app, I mean, building softwares and building application on the web, you might have learned a lot. What actually gave you direction that, okay, from maybe learning HTML, learning this language, I should move to the next one? What was your source of direction? Did you get some sort of mentorship, or did you use the resources that were available? Because right at the moment, we all can testify that information is very broad. There are a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's difficult getting to know which one is the right one to actually use. So what helped you to know the steps to take from this step to the next one?
Okay, what led me is a problem led me to another. Let's say if I build a website, I will not use an array of numbers or to store things. So I was triggered now. How do I put something somewhere somebody can retrieve? You get the argument. So now, like, for example, when I learned JavaScript, I never knew about Node.js. But now I wanted something to communicate with the, I now wanted something to communicate with the server. Then I went there and started Googling, if I'm good in JavaScript, what language can I pick to be on my server edge? So then I found out that I need to use Node.js. Then again, you realize now with JavaScript, I write a lot of code. So I asked myself, which are frameworks that will enable me, like they are set up now, I write minimal code. Then I went to check the frameworks out there. I found Angular. I wanted to venture into Angular. I realized, okay, I found a lot of people community from the Reddit and Stack stuff. People are more on React.js. So I said, why don't I pick this framework? Then I also realized as I picked it, it has got a huge support community. So what led me to learn one thing to the other is a problem. Like, I want to connect something to something, but I don't know how to. So I go and check how to do it, and also I would call friends and ask them, how do you do it? Yes, and then they will just be good and tell me, okay, you can use this, and also you can use this. And then don't forget, for example, I'm learning from YouTube. I'll see somebody doing it, and then I'll also go and learn, okay, if I do it, I need to do it this other way.
Okay, great. That's great. So starting out, I mean, at the end of what you learned, what were some of the applications? What actually were you able to build that at the end you were really satisfied with yourself? Because most of the times, self-taught engineers, at the end, they would be able to build a small product or a small project that they'll be working on. It could be a website, it could be a web app, it could be a mobile app. So what was the first thing you were able to build after your learning journey?
Okay, the first one that I was able to build is a COVID-19 tracker when using the COVID API, such that I would fetch data from the API, and then I would display them on a table. And then I will be able now to sort the data, check which countries are affected. That was one, the first thing. The another thing is currently the one that I've said I'm building is the EMR. That is my personal project that I've not yet finished. It's an Android based. But yes, I took React Native. Now, when I know React, it's much easier for me to go to React Native. That another is the one that I'm building for patient records now currently, but I've not yet finished it because I built it to some point. Then and to restructure it back after I understood the encryptions and the rest. So I needed to do something more. But currently I'm building it also.
Okay,
and
so
also my portfolio.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the portfolio?
The portfolio is all about what I've done. That I was able just go check how people build portfolios and what we put in a portfolio. And then I built on because like the job I have currently, I was hired through the portfolio.
Okay. So a portfolio is...
I just sent my...
So in the layman's...
take it this way.
Yeah, you can go.
The portfolio is what speaks about who you are, what you know, and what you are capable of. And then you put it in an online. I know most of the people trust CV as a portfolio match, but a CV is not a portfolio match. But when you have a web something, it's put somewhere. You can send somebody a link. They can check who you are, like your details, what you've done, your level of education, your capacity, and your skills, and what you build. That's a portfolio.
Okay, that's great. So in the traditional way, I think in the past they had a portfolio where if you're a designer, for example, you have a document, a bag that you have all your designs contained in, that if you go for an interview, you carry those in. Okay, so this one is like a modern version where you go online and the person is able to see all the work that you've done.
Yes.
Okay, I think
somebody can see you and know you.
Okay. Yes. So then technology has really helped us to go advanced way.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So now, what is the current role that you are holding in a current company that you're working with? And even before we get to that point, can you give an estimate of how long it took you to learn all those things and being able to build something in the first time, a software app or a mobile app or anything?
Yes. Okay. So it took me from May to November.
Okay.
Yes. Last year, from May to November, last year is when I started learning JavaScript, because I started with vanilla JavaScript.
Okay.
And that is when I earned the courage, and now I know something in JavaScript. Okay. I know something in Node.js. So like from now, May, June, August, September, October, November, almost 6 months.
Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So getting back to my point, what is the first role that you took in the current company that you're working with?
So the current company, I'm playing more of a front-end engineer.
Front-end engineer. Okay.
Yeah, so like I'm lighting the user interface that somebody will interact with, and I'm the one now like responsiveness of the site or the platform that we have. And the type of product that will just be there is me now, like I'm a front-end engineer.
So if you talk about a front engineer, what are some of the things that you do in your day-to-day activity in your role?
Okay. One of the things I do every day, I wake up, there must be a bug. That's one of the things I know. A bug is a problem in the site. Like somebody is clicking the button, it's not working. So I need to know why the button is not working. Or probably, let's say, when a site is displaying things, they are unequal. Like there are things that are higher than others, lower than others. So like I just need to look at it and like say this button will fit here, this other button will fit here, or this column will be in this side, or this handle will just be here, or anything the user will interact with. That is what I do. Basically, what the user will interact with or what the user will see. That is what I build.
Okay. So at your current role, you are working with other maybe engineers or other people on your team. Probably product designers, you have designers, maybe you have back-end engineers and other people that you collaborate with.
Yes.
Yeah. So what has been the experience starting, when you started out, your learning journey was by yourself. when you were designing your portfolio, you were your designer, you were also your developer, you were just one man in all,
Yes.
okay? And now you've transitioned into a corporate world where you work with other people on your team. What has been the experience so far?
Okay, the experience that I've seen is that I am to be able to learn. That is the first experience. Because I've worked with very smart individuals, the people who did the course that let's say somebody did computer science and now you're working with them. And so they know some attributes of how things are designed. So I have been humble to learn enough and ask questions. Before I do something, I have been to ask people, why are you doing something like this way? Let's say somebody is joining things in the database, or somebody is doing a certain thing in the backend I don't understand. I have to question, why are you doing this? I don't assume they know. And every day and each and every day, I keep on asking questions. And then I've learned something. Ask Google the right question, it will give you the right answer. So most of the work that I do is Google and see how I can implement it.
Okay. So what are some of the skills that you've also learned that you think that you'll be able to transfer it to other companies if in the future maybe you have to go somewhere different? What are some of the skills that you go along with that you've learned from the team that you are working with at the moment? Aside your technical skills, maybe knowing how to hit the keyboard and stuff, what are some soft skills that you've learned that you think it's a plus to the role that you are in?
One of the main skills is to listen to everybody's suggestion. I've learned that. Before then I never used to. I used to be the person who would not listen to what people suggest. So, but as I'm building systems, I'm understanding somebody might say something. It might not make sense to me, but it is what is right. I also respect people's opinion of why they do things the way they do, and also I've also learned if I have a question of how things are, because sometimes we deployed something and it broke the whole system. So you can imagine, because we never consulted one another what was happening in between. So the backend engineers pushed their code, me back of front end pushed the code, and now you realize now something would have gone wrong there, because let's say the API I was fetching from there, somebody changed something there. So I learned to be able to cooperate with them and ask them, what have you changed that was in the back end, it's not in the front end. So that is one thing. And also to be able to, another thing is to be able to ask the right question.
Okay.
Asking questions, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. And if I don't understand, I ask more.
Okay.
I don't assume that I know, yet I don't know. I've realized something. If I know, I don't know, I don't know. And I don't have to just dump myself and say I know. No, I ask, why is it so? And also to involve the management. I've learned something like that, because as we might be designing something, the management is not in it or something. Let's say the CTO there is not agreeing with something. So now you realize now you might be trying to implement something they ruled out, and now you might end up playing with company politics. So I've learned to avoid also company politics.
Okay.
What has brought me there is work. Avoid company politics. You're not the company politicians.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So you mentioned bugs are sometimes problems that come into the course that you work with. So after taking your role, have you ever encountered a situation where a bug was so difficult that it made you even question why you didn't stay in your medicine area and you transitioned into the engineering sector? Have you had, a situation like that where a problem was so difficult for you that you couldn't? And even if there were instances like that, how were you able to, stay motivated and then overcome that challenge and then continue in your career?
Okay, that one is happening to me almost every day.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to implement something and things are breaking down. I introduce a bug, or I've worked on something, I think it's good. Wait till I run it, or it's taken to somebody's computer or machine. Everything breaks down. So one of the things I've learned with is to always, everything that I make a change to, I've learned to put it down.
Okay.
If I don't get what's happening, I consult. And if the people I'm consulting, they don't understand, I've learned to go sit and meditate what is not happening. Like I start to analyze how the things are working, how things are going from top to down, from bottom to up. Then in between there, I'll get the solution. Why is it not working the way I want it to be? Okay. I've learned to meditate a lot. Yes, okay. I will go even for 2 hours, sit down, think without even touching the computer. I just walk around, try to think, why is it not working? Even I've had sleepless nights. Sometimes I found myself, I'm thinking and thinking. You're expecting, let's say by 8, you have finished the work. Yet there's nothing you've done. So you see now you have to think. And you know, this is companies' money they are paying you to. Mm-hmm. And now you have to deliver. That's one thing I was told. If we pay you, you have to deliver. So at the end of the day, so I have to sit down. Thinking is the most thing. And then I avoid noise as such. And sit down and try to think, why are things not working the way I want? Why is the implementation becoming hard? And then also I've learned whenever I have a problem, somebody else encountered it. Yeah. Why not I Google it? And from Stack Exchange, where we say it's the fathers of developers.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Awesome. So my next question that I want to ask you is, what do you think has been some of the advantages or the privileges that you've had, you know, breaking into the tech industry that you enjoy right now, that probably you think that if you had stepped into medicine or something like that, you wouldn't have gotten that privilege or advantage?
Okay, one advantage I'll just speak of is freedom.
Okay.
Because if I was in the main world, I would be in the theater. So at the end of the day, and then there you are, somebody tells you step in the office by 8, and then you're supposed maybe, let's say, come out by 9, or you are trying to pick something, but at the end of the day, it's free. There's no that freedom. You arrive, and then the other freedom, you will have to use guidelines. But in tech, you'll just have to use what works for the company. But this other one, you will follow a pedigree of like you have to follow things the way they are done. But in tech, I can sleep anytime I want. I can wake up anytime I want. And then I can suggest something that will be implemented and users will love, of which now in the other medicine world, if I would suggest something, it will be told, let it pass through FDA, let it pass through this board, let it pass through this other board. But in tech, I have the rule of the thumb that I can like say, we can implement it this way. We can do it this way. We can try it this way. You know, in medicine world or in med world or in the other part of engineering, there's no trial and errors most of the time.
Okay.
It's something going, but in tech, it's around. You are just trying to, so there is a lot of freedom. And also that the other thing is also, it has taught me to understand how the world runs.
Okay.
Such that if somebody will say servers are down, I'll not think of a physical system. I'll just think of a code that is running the system. And even when and then the other thing, I've also been able to understand how things are running in between. If I text someone, I need to know it's a socket communicating with another person. So that is why now I've been able to understand how my world around me works. If I'm using Google Maps, I'm able now to understand how the map works, so that I can be able now to understand it better. Like I've been able to understand the world around me more better than how I could have done in medicine, because I could have been more fixed. You know, we say medicine, you are fixed to what you did in class.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So what would be your advice to people who are interested to break into the tech industry, having the opportunity to work and collaborate with other people and also work on different projects and products? What would be your advice to people who are, one, not having a computer science degree, and also who are coming into tech without, they are just freshers, let me say beginners, that maybe they are in other fields or other industries, let's say marketing and the rest, but they want to break into the tech industry and hold a career in tech? What would be some of your advice to people like that?
Okay, one of my advice is I would say utilize the materials online.
Okay.
And there are also some courses that are there that are paid, but I've realized most of the paid courses in tech, they don't even cost much. you realize something goes for even $10, $30. So you can even pay for that. And then another thing is have a mentor. Somebody you know is ahead of you, who has been there. Somebody will just be telling you, do this, do that. This is how it is done. This is how it is. They're not there in a way to police you, no. But they're there just to tell you this is how things are done, and this is how things are. Then another thing is I learned. If you don't have a computer science degree, make sure when you are learn something to do. You can just start to learn something like HTML and CSS. With those two, you can be able to design your own portfolio, your website. Design your own website and a portfolio, such that if somebody asks you, can you be able to build this product, and can you send us what you built? Your portfolio can save you. I've had testimonies from engineers who have said, like me, what saved me is a portfolio. You know, I was competing with guys who did computer science and computer engineering and IT. So you can now imagine but now it's a portfolio. Somebody will just see your portfolio and they say, it's good. He knows what he's doing. So because I don't have a degree in computer science or IT, I need to have a portfolio. And make sure that your portfolio also contains your CV inside, such that somebody can check your CV also. Yes.
Okay. So in the tech industry, one can say that it's not only about your CV, but your portfolio of projects that you've worked on can also help you a lot in getting or securing your first group, right?
Because that is how you convince someone you are doing it. How you really know you are not a quack or a moron. You just need to see what have you built. You say, this world is crazy.
Yeah.
So you need to, yes.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, James, for joining us today and sharing your story with us, how you got into the tech industry, coming from medical engineering background, and also navigating your way to become a front-end engineer. I think that is a very awesome and a very fantastic achievement. And also doing some of these things to help the community, the tech community. I say that we are very grateful that you joined us today, and also congratulations on getting your role as a front-end engineer. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to learn from the story that you've shared. And if someone has the interest or the desire to break into tech, they should know and understand that they can do it. Of course, they can do it. They just have to take the first step, that is looking for answers. Then learning is also one of the things that working in the tech industry or breaking into tech, one should be willing to do. Like you mentioned, you were ready to listen. You, even now as a front-end engineer, you still learn from other people. You still take advice from other people. So we just want to tell people that they can do it, and they should take the opportunity that the tech is offering now, because there are a lot of opportunities right now that are available. And if one has the will and take the first step to break into tech, they can have a role in that. And also, it's not about sitting behind a computer and then typing. Sometimes that scares people that I don't even know anything about typing. I don't even know anything about coding. But there are a lot of roles that you don't necessarily have to sit behind a computer. For example, you, Jim, you can testify to it. You're working with a lot of people in your team. You work with designers, you work with product managers, project managers, and a lot of that. Yeah. So thank you once again. And if you are listening or watching, and you know someone who is interested in breaking the tech, or who would find this resource very useful, you can share that information with them. Thank you, and bye, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.